Alright, so update on the truck that I got from my dad's. I took it to the auto repair shop and I said go through it underneath and see if there's anything that needs to be resolved, like tie rods and stuff, because there was this weird rattle. Instantly, the rattle went away. They couldn't find anything. They inspected everything, they couldn't find anything. They said all I needed was an oil change. So that, and I have to figure out what's wrong. Sometimes it's hard to start. Could be pressure valve or whatever, or the fuel pump, but that's separate. But underneath, as far as that, is all good. So far I've spent $75 for an oil change and $150 for a new battery for the truck. I went and got an estimate from Maaco to do the undercarriage and repaint and all that. It was like $5,300 for Maaco. That was the nicer paint job though, but still, they wanted $625 just to remove the chrome rocker panel cover. Anyway, I'm having an interesting time fixing the little paint chip I knocked out of my Honda, which is a pearlized paint, so it's really hard to match. But I think by the time I'm done, I think I'm going to just figure out how to get these dents out, because they're very mild dents. I might be able to just have them popped out. And then I think I'm going to just go through, take everything off, and probably just touch up this paint job, because the clear coat is good on it. It may not need a new paint job. I'm going to try to do this as affordable as possible. So let's do a quick walk around. I'll show you what I'm working on today with it. There we go. Here it is. So today I'm going to be fixing that. This is missing its little clip, and this is missing the plastic. And so it needs the new things back in there. It doesn't really have bad rust. It was from Colorado, so that's all pretty good. The interior is pretty amazing, actually, for a vehicle from 2001. The headliner is in perfect condition. There's no tears in the seats. It's just a little dirty, and of course scuff marks on the doors, but that's to be expected, right? So a good detailing is all the interior needs. I do have to fix this latch. The latch actually works, but the handle's missing and this is broke, so I need two pieces to fix that. So I'm gonna head to Truck Country, I guess is what it's called, one of these days, and because he was having trouble finding the part. But we've got these to fix the tailgate. So I just got these assorted latches. Hopefully one will work. They had this in stock for like $8. Oh, I guess it just sticks on? It doesn't even screw on. It looks like it's just double-sided tape. All right, let's go ahead and check it out. Let's try this one. I have no idea how these things attach, so let's just see what happens. Oh, I get it. So this just goes in the hole. So you just got to make sure you get one that just fits. That's it. Okay, so apparently you put it in the hole first, and then you clip it to the rod. Let's try that. Yeah, that's it. You just stick the rod in, and then you just push this up and clip it around it. Awesome, that was it. Now this handle looks like it was bent a little, but I'm not gonna worry about that. All right, so I'm cleaning this off with just some mineral spirits. Get it all clean. There was a wasp nest in there that I really should do something about, but it's not like there's any wasps in it anymore. Can you see it? If I knock it out, it's just gonna fall on the bottom. It's not like I can get to it, so I think I'm gonna just leave that. All right, so between that and the little package of clips, that was about another $15. So we're now up to a total of $240 into fixing this old truck up. But that's how you fix it. That was pretty easy. There is a dent under here. You can see it. So I'm gonna have to figure out, this fortunately is covered by this, so I can get a new one of these, and when I take it off I can probably pound that back into shape. Because it's covered with this, it's not like you can see it once you put this back on, so I think I'll be able to fix that easy enough. Other than chips, there's no other damage with the tailgate. The tailgate is actually in real good condition. The only dents there really is in this truck, there's a couple little tiny things right here, which I don't even know if you can see with the camera. Right here, there's something right there. There is this bigger one right here, which probably will just pop out once I get that off. Now I'm going to go ahead and take a heat gun and try to get this chrome off, because I don't want to spend $625 for Maaco to do it. Even if I end up pulling everything else off and paying them to just spray it, I'm not paying $625 to pull off some chrome. That's just stupid. This is kind kind of coming off with the heat gun. I just use this. You probably want to use gloves because it gets pretty hot, but I'm too lazy. So I'm using this to get behind it. And a couple of them came off fairly easy. I'm trying to get it so it doesn't tear this. If I can get it to just come in one swoop, then it'll pull it all off at the same time. So what would be good is a plastic putty knife. I don't have one, but I do have a piece of plastic, so I'm going to grab that. Just get it to where it's coming off with the metal instead of separate from the metal. Doesn't want to do it on this side.
It's melting it.
There we go. This is what I was trying to do. Yeah, gloves would be nice. That metal's pretty hot. And just come off really slow. You don't want to get it so hot that you bubble up your paint either. So you can rub all this out with rubbing compound. I just did a quick rub by hand. I'll have to get a buffing wheel. But basically all I did from here on out is this, and paint thinner took it off. That, however, was put on differently, and that I still have to figure out how to get off because it's not coming off hardly at all. It's really being difficult. So we'll go back to the other side and I'll show you how this can rub off pretty easily with just paint thinner and a cloth. So this just can tear off for the most part. This is actually coming off a little easier than the other side. If you had a plastic putty knife, that would work really good. What I did do was use some heat, and on the other side, and just use the plastic, and you get the idea. But also, it seems that paint thinner, and I was also trying brake cleaner stuff, but here I'll just do some paint thinner. And as you can see, paint thinner takes it off pretty easy. So, well, I shouldn't say pretty easy, but I mean, you're gonna have to use some elbow grease, but it's not impossible. Now what I did on the other side is I just took, to do an initial soften up of everything, I just used this stuff. And then let it soak for a little bit, and that really gets it, so then it just comes off much easier. And this stuff will just literally just roll up. Anyway, you get the idea. A little bit of scraping and persistence. Ideally, you want to get it to come off nice and easy with the heat gun when you pull off the metal. That way you don't have a chunk like this to remove. So far I've been doing this for about an hour. Other than that one strip you saw on the other side, it's pretty well done as far as getting this stuff off. Still have to use some rubbing compound and clean it up, but the other thing is that dent that was down there on that fender right there, I just was able to reach underneath and pop it right out. So we'll see what it looks like when I pull the chrome off. Today looks like it's going to be some pretty good progress. This is definitely not a $625 job. Do not pay anybody what Mako said they were going to charge me to remove this, because even if it takes me 4 hours, that's $150 an hour. Yeah, do it yourself. So I'm down to the last part right here, and I tried aircraft adhesive remover, all kinds of stuff. None of it worked any better than this. Just paint thinner, which is what I used to get all this clean right here. And the adhesive I used on this came off relatively easy with just a little bit of effort. That stuff is not coming off no matter what I tried. So I went ahead and ordered one of these. Now it's already halfway through, which I pretty much, it'll be used up by the time I'm done with this. But it worked. I bought it for 11 bucks on Amazon. It should be on my promotions page, thejohnnyoshow.com/promotions. Now, you're gonna see mixed reviews on this. First, people were complaining, well, I ran it and it just gummed up everything. If your adhesive is so soft that it's gummy, you don't need this. Use something to just, and put a little elbow grease in it and take it off. If your adhesive is not soft, that's where this is coming into play, is non-soft, non-pliable stuff like that. And then somebody else wrote a comment that all it did was they had a 2 feet sticker they had to take off, and now they ran it and all it did was leave the sticker and ground off 2 feet of their paint. And my statement to that, if you're too stupid to realize to test it first before you do 2 feet, and somehow you're grinding away on 2 feet before you realize you're taking your paint off, something's wrong with you. So if you do get one of these, be reasonable about what your expectations are. You know, only use this if nothing else is working, because it could potentially damage your paint. Also, don't use it with a corded, powered electric drill. Those spin at a lot higher RPMs. The most you want this to spin is 4,000 RPMs. This can get really hot. That can just burn your paint off. For me, this thing has been working really good, but I could easily see that this could cost a bit to burn through. But I spent 20 bucks on that aircraft adhesive spray can, and it did nothing. So even if I had to buy 2 of these, it'd be better. So relatively, it comes off pretty good. Like I said, I've tried everything, nothing was working. Now this is already just stuff that was peeled off just because it was old, but here we go. Check that out. Also, I'm running this in reverse. If you run the drill forward, it'll just do this and loosens up every time you stop it. So run your drill in reverse and just go to town. All right, you get the idea. I'm gonna go ahead and get all this finished. After that, I just clean off a little bit of residue with some paint thinner or whatever you choose. I'm using paint thinner. This is old paint. It is not hurting it. You might want to try denatured alcohol or maybe some inexpensive adhesive remover, because at this point you're not going to go a lot. Rubbing compound. That's all I did here after I got it all off. We can show the other side where I've cleaned. I've used this and I cleaned. Let's come around. I haven't cleaned this yet, but that's all off. But here we go. That's the finished product. And this was the softer stuff, but this was all the really hard stuff that I had to use the rubber wheel on right here. And it was 3 strips of it, and it was not coming off. If you do that, this whole process would have taken me maybe 4 hours total had I known what tools to use. So Mako wanted to charge me $625 to remove those chrome plates. Don't pay $625. I probably have, I have $10 in the wheel and paint thinner and stuff like that. Just say 30 bucks, 30 to 40 bucks is the most you're gonna have into supplies to get this done, as long as you already own a drill gun. That is how you deal with the adhesive. At least that's how I dealt with it. So I'm very pleased with the results. All right, on to the next project.